Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Habitual. As you can probably slightly tell, I'm sure, if you're watching the video, that we have a different backdrop today. I've been really over the backdrop that I've had, and I'm just experimenting with random stuff that I have in my house. And I also didn't want to leave my bedroom today because my bedroom is really freaking cute, and I just cleaned it. And the room that I usually record in is like a mess. So here we are, experimenting. Anyways, I hope that everyone is having a wonderful, beautiful day. And I'm really tired today. I'm deep luteal phase. Okay. Deep luteal phase. Like any day, gonna start my period. So this is just, I'm in this like, feels like you're like in jello. And you just have like horrible, I just also personally get like really bad. So like I get really bad brain fog, and I've just been exhausted. I also have had I had a long weekend, had a lot of fun, but just like so many social events, and I have so much more coming up, which is great. And I'm excited, and it's such a blessing to have so many things to celebrate. And I say that a lot, but that's just how I feel. And today, the reason I'm saying that is because if I seem a little off or a little like, it's because I am just a little bit. So anyways, that's all. If you notice that I'm a little out of it, that's why. Okay, here we go. Also, I'm realizing this backdrop is like the same color as my hair. Whatever, it's fine. It doesn't actually matter, but like camoed in here. I have a vision for what I want my actual backdrop to be, but I just need to get everything from the store and figure it out. But this can work in the meantime, apparently. Okay. To quit the preamble, let's jump into today's episode, because I was talking with my boyfriend and I was like, you know what? It's so interesting because I feel like our relationship is such a huge part of my life. Obviously it is such a huge part of my life. He's been my partner for the past 8 years. Like, we have quite literally gone through like everything that you could go through, and we've grown up together, and we went to college together, and like we've done everything. And I am incredibly, incredibly proud of my relationship and him and our partnership together. And I think that it's just such a huge piece of who I am at my core. And I thought it was interesting. Like, obviously I give him little shout outs here and there, but like, I think that being in a romantic relationship is a huge part of my life, and I wanted to talk about it. So that's what we're doing today. Today we are going to go over, I made a list. Who's surprised? We are going to go over 5 habits that changed my relationship. And just because I want to, I'm going to preface with the fact that these are just the 5. These are just 5. These are literally just 5. These are not the only 5. They're not the biggest 5. They're not necessarily even the most important 5 at all. They're just 5 habits that I was like, oh yeah, that definitely changed our relationship once we started making that a habit. So just remember that when you're listening. And this is also, again, we're going to be completing. We're going to be celebrating 8 years of us and our relationship this November. So we kind of know what we're talking about. We've been in this thing a long time. And again, from the ages 18 to 26. So it has been like, we've literally done so much growing up together, and a lot of trial and error of trying to see like what works best for us and how to have the best relationship that we possibly can. Okay. And these are just some habits, and this is what I wanted to share. Okay. I don't know why I'm feeling awkward. Okay. 5 habits that changed my relationship. And we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 is not making assumptions. Sounds really familiar to one of the 4 agreements. Yes, that's because it is. It is one of the 4 agreements, is to not make assumptions. But I think that this, in the context of a romantic relationship, is incredibly, incredibly important, and was just such a fucking game changer. And I also think this just comes with like maturing emotionally as well, and like just being an adult, but not making assumptions. What do I mean by that? I mean, okay, like an example of that would be, oh, I don't want to, or like if I do X, Y, and Z, or if I do this, then I know that he's going to just say this, or I know that he's just going to do this instead. You don't actually know. Give people the opportunity to show you their actions. Don't just assume that you know how they're going to act just because you might have been dating for however many years, or like you know them really well, or they usually always do react the same way. But you can't, like, making assumptions like that on like someone's, specifically someone's behavior or someone's response to something. It is not, it's not conducive. It's not beneficial. We need to give people the opportunity to maybe sometimes prove us wrong, or to prove us right. And then you have that conversation if it's an issue. Do you know what I mean? You can't just be, no matter how much time you spend with someone and how long you've been together with someone, I think that it can be easy to fall into a potential pattern of feeling like you know them so well that you know how they're gonna, respond or react or behave in certain situations, but you actually don't know that. So don't assume that you know what they're gonna do or how they're gonna be or what they're gonna say. That's one example. Another example, texting tone. When I was like really, I want to say really young, but realistically I wasn't that young. I was like 20, 21. But in college, I had such a hard time with this. I also had a hard time with like, not an excuse, but I had a really hard time with, I would just assume the tone of like text messages from my boyfriend. Like I would be like, he would say something and I would assume like, oh, he means that in this way. And he's saying that with like attitude, and he's saying it because of whatever reason I would make up. And that is so fucking unfair. And then I would respond as if that was fact. And then, do you know what usually happened? That was like no, it was like, whoa, why are you taking it there? Or like, what just happened? Because that's not how he intended it. But I was like, there was like 1 year specifically in college where like I was just also really going through it. But I genuinely remember being like every text was like an attack, and it never actually was. I was just making it that way in my head and then assuming that that's how he meant it. It was just crazy. But I think that that's just another example of like not assuming. Like, and I think this also goes, I feel like I've seen also this example in a lot of like fresher relationships when you might not like know each other's repertoire like that. And I think it can be easy to like, oh, they said X, Y, and Z, like that just means that they don't like me, or that means that they probably don't want to hang out with me or whatever. And I think that it's easy when you don't have that reassurance of like a long lasting relationship to fall back on to like, I don't know. But I think it can be easy to spiral on those. And I genuinely think that like the biggest thing that you can do is just like actually not assume any type of tone. And if there is a question and it's important to you to get clarity on it, then you ask it because you're an adult. Like, oh, how did you actually mean that? Because when I read it, I was confused and I didn't know if it was this or that. Or that just kind of made me feel like maybe you meant this. Is that what you actually meant? Because guess what? We're adults and we can say those things, and it's not weird or uncomfortable or embarrassing to ask for clarity on stuff and to be like, hey, does that mean you don't want to hang out with me? Because usually they're going to be like, oh my God, no, I'm so sorry you took it that way. It's literally that easy. Okay. And then another big one, assumptions. Also, if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notes. But another big one with assumptions is not making assumptions with your plans and your free time. Okay. Just being like, oh, well, I assumed that you're going to hang out that day, or I assumed that you're going to come with me to this. That type of vibe. Because that's not fair to you or to them. And that directly leads into my habit number 2, which is calendaring. When you are an adult and you are in this complex season of life where everyone you know is doing everything all the time. And especially in summer when it's like, holy shit, everyone is having these events. These are when like concerts are happening, music festivals, like we've got baby showers, weddings, we've got all of the things that are happening. It is so important to have a set calendar with you and your significant other so that you can have clear communications and that's not a word. Therefore, and thus, therefore, have clear expectations of your time and your plans. But I also think that this is really, because everyone has their own social calendar. If you guys have the same friends, great. If you don't have the same friends, even bigger. You need to be like, this is where I'm supposed to be on this day, doing this thing. And, oh, well, I actually can't go to that because I have X, Y, and Z. And then you can be like, oh, okay, well, then when can we see each other? Or what is this thing that you could go with me to? Or what have you. But I think that having a like set calendar and expectations of your guys' time is the one of the most important ways to have a successful relationship as an adult, to be honest. Like I feel like if I didn't have that with Jacob, like it would just be it just would have, I just am like trying to envision what that would be like. I also just feel like when two people are really busy, you need to know what each other's schedules are so that you can prioritize time together, because there are a lot of things that you have to do with your partner and that you want to do with your partner. You want to hang out with them. You want to have quality time with them, obviously. Like, and how do you set those things if you guys have such conflicting or potentially like differing schedules? It's like impossible. You have to be able to have clear communication about your time. And I think that this is also really extra important for me and Jacob because he is a firefighter. So he has like weird schedules, such like his schedule changes every week, but he's gone for 2 whole days, right? And that's also just sometimes that's not when he's like working overtime or he's covering someone's shift or like he's on a strike team or what have you. Like, so we have to be really organized. And then it's also like his time off is his time off, and his time off is usually also when I'm working. And then it's like, how do we do that whole thing? It's like a dance. It's like you got to like figure out the rhythm of like how you're going to make all these things happen all at once. You know what I mean? And this is like a little like, what is it? Like the 5 things are like bullet points. And you need to like hit tab and then it's like another like subsequent bullet point underneath. This is one of those under habits that changed my relationship. Number 2, calendaring. Sub bullet point, having at least 1 date night together a week. And when I say date night, I mean like in the most chillest sense of the word. Like even if it is just cooking a nice dinner together and eating together and like talking while you're eating and not just like eating in front of a TV or something like that. Like that should be a bare minimum, in my opinion. But that's also that is our expectations that we have for each other and for our relationship. And because we also have such differing schedules and such like conflicting working times and times when we can see each other, it is like the most important thing to us that we have at least. It's very rare if it only happens 1 time a week, but at the absolute least 1 night a week where we do a date night, whether it's, having a dinner together, lighting some candles while we eat our dinner, and then like watching a movie that we both decide on, like something like so chill if like we're both having like really busy weeks, but it's just important to know that you're each prioritizing each other and to also schedule time to be together and to schedule quality time together, you know? Because like also sometimes we're so busy that like we're seeing each other, but we're like so wiped by the end of the day that we're not even having like quality conversations. Like it's just more like, oh my God, I have to do like this, and then I have to prep for tomorrow. And then it's like we're exhausted and just like vegging out, and then we go to bed. And then it's like, yeah, like having that set and scheduled quality time specifically is so important. And so that's just like another like little subset of like a habit that we've had that has made our relationship so much better, because we know we're on the same page about how important our quality time is and making sure that we schedule that. Okay, this is actually not, I didn't write this down, but I just want to say it because it's also how I feel. I also think that there is like, I don't know. I feel like there's like an inverse to that of having, okay, not having like too much quality time together. Okay, another way that I'm going to explain this, because this is how I'm visualizing it, okay? Like, yes, you're scheduling quality time, but you're also, it's like everything is a balance, right? Like literally imagine like two scales, like two sides of a scale. And like you want to make it balanced, because that is when life is in homeostasis, baby, is when everything is balanced and everything's in moderation and we're doing it all, you know? Like too much of something is just going to throw you out of whack. So too much of working and not enough resting. Too much of social time with like other people and not enough social time with your partner. Or on the opposite side, too much social time with your partner and not enough social time with other people. I think that is also like a thing. And I feel like earlier on in relationships, you can really get caught in that, like when you're like in the honeymoon stage or whatever. I think it's really easy to be like, oh, I just want to see you, and like all my free time I just want to spend with you. I'm not saying like don't do that. I'm just saying, I guess, be aware of it and to be cautious of it, because it is one of those things that, yeah, it should be balanced, right? It should always be balanced. I also think it's really important to have quality time with other people in your life and not just your partner, because I think that's important. Whether it's with your friends, your family, or like them, like if they are wanting to go off and do stuff and it's their free day, like, I don't know. I just feel like there should always be a balance, like never too much just quality time with your partner in the week and not enough time for them or you to also have quality time with other people, or just time for yourself. Like so many times Jacob will have like a free day and maybe I'll have like a free afternoon or something. He's like, oh, I really want to go golfing. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so nice. Like being alone and having some like me time to like read my book or make stuff for the podcast or whatever it is. It just sounds so nice. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's like a trade-off. We should always, everything in balance. Okay. I don't know how to wrap this up. Okay. Whatever. Everything in balance is what I'm trying to say. Okay. And let's go to number 3. Number 3 is knowing what the 100% is. I don't really know how to word that, but what I mean by that is a lot of people assume like, oh, things are 50-50. I disagree. I disagree 100%. I think that sometimes it's 50-50, but I think that depending on life circumstances and current situations, you need to be on the same page about how you're getting to 100. Because most of the time it is not 50-50. It is very, 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 very rarely, at least in my experience, being a teenager and then also into my early 20s relationship, it is very, very rarely 50-50. It is very rarely 50-50. For example, Jacob went to the fire academy and he was literally living in a different place Monday through Friday, and then was coming back on the weekends and had to study and sleep and meal prep and do all of these things. Our relationship was not 50-50. I was not expecting him to put in just as much as I was putting in, because he was physically exhausted. He was mentally exhausted. He was going through this like crazy time and like experience and schooling. And I think that is something that should be assumed. Like if your partner's doing something like that, or like, again, like I said, like depending on current situations, that is where you rise up and understand that like for this season of life, you're going to take on more of the responsibility. And whether that means more responsibility into the relationship or into the house, if you guys live together, or just literally anything, finances, whatever it can be, whatever it is. But things are always ebbing and flowing. Always. There's always going to be seasons where someone can give more and someone can't. and can't give more and has to maybe give a little bit less because their time is spent elsewhere. And that is okay. That is always okay. Your relationship can still be your priority while you are doing other life things. And I think that that is so important to understand and to get in the habit of like having those check-ins and also being able to like grow with each other through life transition periods and growth periods. And I feel like that this is like one of the biggest reasons why our relationship is like the best it's ever been even after 8 years. Like we are very, very in touch and understanding with what we can give and what we also can't give at certain points in our life and with certain changes. And I think the thing that has been the most impactful is both of our abilities to like immediately rise up and be like, and of course I can get like, yes, like you do this thing, you do whatever it is, and of course, like I'll take my 50 up to 70, no problem, and then you shuffle around your expectations and it's like, okay, like Jacob is starting paramedic school. So he is going to be not having as much time to be doing those things. And I understand and am happy to step up in all of the ways that he needs me to step up for him so that we can make this a really easy or an easier transition for him and a better experience instead of having to be stressed about planning this or making sure that all of the chores are done and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, he's going to be able to focus on the things that he needs to focus on. And I am gladly taking more responsibility to do the things. And we've done this switch off for things like this for years and years and years. And I think our willingness and ability to just jump in and be happy to do so speaks volumes. And it has been an amazing habit that we have kind of just like assimilated into our life. Okay. Because it's always changing. It's always changing. Always. And especially when you're in your 20s and things are just like constantly ebbing and flowing and doing this and doing that. Like it's just always going to be different. So anyways, number 4 on the 5 habits that changed my relationship. Number 4 is, drumroll please, gratitudes. This is one of the things that pops up to me like immediately in my head when I start thinking about like little things that we do that just like maybe we don't even really realize, but we just make our relationship work so great. And this is a huge one. Gratitudes. And what I mean by gratitudes is obviously we tell each other we're grateful for each other and blah, blah, blah. But to go one layer deeper, we say thank you for everything. Like everything. No matter if it's small or if it's like expected, we're saying thank you. Like someone makes the bed. Thank you so much for making the bed this morning. Someone does the dishes, does their own dishes, vacuums the floor, buys lunch, like whatever it is, we are always very, very, very quick to give gratitude and to show appreciation for each other for everything. And we both have talked about the fact that it's so easy and it makes all the difference. It really does. Because even if you have agreed on something and like have a set expectation of like, this is my responsibility and this is your responsibility. And I'm also realizing a lot of these are like very much maintaining a household thing, but whatever. We've been living for each other since we've been living with each other. I think we actually started living with each other like the second year that we were ever dating. And then COVID hit and then we lived together. We've basically lived together forever. But anyways, our whole relationship essentially. A few side quests here and there, like when he was in Alaska and I was living at home and all these things. But anyways, it's not just household things. It's also just like when someone does something nice for you or when someone does something that you really appreciate or that you like want more of, or like you're like, that felt so good. Like I would love if that kept happening or whatever it is. No. is because it goes one step further. It's not even just being thanked and being given gratitude and appreciation for the things that you're doing. But it's also like someone noticing, like being noticed. Your effort is being noticed. It's not going unseen. And then it's also not going unappreciated. It is always being pointed out, given praise. And I think that is just something small that we have just made a habit that I think has genuinely made our relationship so much better. And our relationship, I was going to say our relationship with each other. Obviously, that's what I mean. Our relationship with each other. And it's so easy. It is so freaking easy. And like, even if it's things where you're like, hey, I'm going to clean the living room. Do you think that you could clean the kitchen? And you're like, yeah. And then you both do that instead of just like being done and being like, well, yeah, we agreed on it. It's like, of course they were going to do that. It's like, hey, thank you so much for doing that and for wiping down the counters and for doing the dishes and for organizing that or putting the groceries away. And anyways, it just feels nice and it's easy to do. And that is one small habit that has 100% changed our relationship and made everything just a lot smoother and made us both feel a lot better and more appreciated, which is so important. And number 5 of 5 habits that have changed my relationship. It is, and this one took us a long time. Okay, this one took us a while, but having space before an argument can escalate. We really rarely like fight. I don't really say we fight. We more just like can get in like little like we can bicker. But on the blue moon that we are arguing, we used to argue a lot more when we were younger. So it's been a journey. But I think that this is one of the most important things that you can possibly do. This changed my life immensely. And it was like never an option for me. Don't know. Well, actually, I didn't know why, and I'll get into that. It was never an option for me when I was younger. And in the first like few years of our relationship, like I genuinely thought that like things had to be resolved immediately. Otherwise, I don't know. But I think that actually comes down to like a huge thing, which is what I realized once we started doing this. Okay. I was really bad at self-regulating. Yeah. I like couldn't regulate my emotions and I was depending and expecting however this argument was going to go or this conversation or like whatever it is, even if it's not an argument, even if it was just like a, hey, I'm upset about something or whatever. And there's big emotions there. I could not self-regulate. I couldn't regulate my emotions. I could not soothe myself. So I was literally just expecting this conversation. Like I was like, no, we have to have it right now because like I needed the reassurance and like I needed whatever it was, whether it was reassurance or whether it was like actually arguing or whatever it was. And I also think that can go into, there's a lot of things. I think that it's like mental health things and like my brain being like just telling me that I had to, otherwise like it was bad. I don't know. I honestly am not a fucking rocket scientist or a neurologist. I'm not a neurologist. Neurologist, rocket science, I feel like they're the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like those are like adjacent. If you're a neuroscientist, if you're a neurologist, you have a neurologist and a rocket scientist next to each other. Like, okay, you're both some of the smartest people in the world. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. Anyways, oh, okay. But here is why I think that it is so important to take space. Okay, 1, you're forced to self-regulate, and I think that's incredibly important. If you can't do that, I think that that's an issue. I didn't realize that I had that until that it was an issue until I realized, and I was like, oh my God. And then I realized how hard it was for me to do this after, like how hard it was for me to like take space and to just sit with myself before reapproaching or reengaging. But it becomes easier with time. I think it's probably like the best skill ever in conflict management. I actually think that it is the best thing ever because as someone with huge emotions, it's really, when my emotions get really high, it's incredibly, incredibly hard for me to respond and not react. I am just reacting. because that's what happens when I have really big emotions. And I don't know. That's just who I am. That's just, I don't know. Childhood trauma. What could we say? But anyways, I have really big emotions and it's really hard for me to respond and not react. And usually what reacting does is make me be like afterwards, I'm like, ooh, I don't think that I really actually handled that the way that I actually wanted to. Or I said things that I actually did not mean at all. But just because my emotions were heightened, I was like reacting and not responding. So I think that taking space is a huge, like, since we started implementing that, like, it just doesn't happen anymore because we're just like, oh, like we have time to like cool down by ourselves, let the emotions run their course. So don't forget, emotion is energy in motion. It's literally just energy moving through your body, coursing through your body, and just sometimes you just gotta let it run its course and self-soothe, baby. Self-soothe, self-regulate. Let your body come back to like a chill vibe, right? And that's, I mean, I think that just is, it's just so, I think that's the biggest pro to taking space, right? Is that you can actually, because then also like, yeah, like you shouldn't be dependent on your partner to regulate you or to calm you down or to whatever it is. Like you should be able to do that by yourself, I think, as an adult, as an emotionally intelligent and emotionally mature person. I think that is a huge part of emotional maturity, is being able to regulate yourself and regulate your emotions so that you can come and meet each other back at a calm and resolve the issue without emotions running high and rampant and doing whatever. Because it's just not helpful. And you can still, it's like you don't know how you felt. Like you can still have that conversation and be like, no, like this is how I felt. And this is how like you made me feel, or I made you feel, or whatever it is. Like that doesn't just like negate, just because you're not feeling the emotions in that moment when you're having the conversation does not negate that you had those emotions about the situation, if that makes sense. Because then also, once you both self-regulate and you come back and you like re-engage, we have a habit. We have an expectation of, we come back to it and we re-engage with like an emphasis on reassurance and repair. And it's so much easier for both of us to like actually see each other's sides instead of feeling like a really inflated sense of ego and like wanting to defend or wanting to be right. And this allows us to like just come together, have this conversation, only talk about like the actual important parts, and we do so in a way that's like we're hugging or we're cuddling the whole time, or we're holding hands when we're doing it, so that there's like this like intentional connection and not just like, I don't know, blowing up at each other. It's not like we're like taking space and then we're like super distant or something. You know what I mean? When you take space, you can actually be really intentional about how you like re-engage with the conversation. And I think that is just so important. And that has been the best thing ever, I think. Yeah, it kind of feels really weird to talk about my relationship online, the internet, which is fine though. I am happy because, like I said, like I will share things as long as they have the potential of helping someone else. And if this helps someone else, that's great. If not, then I just explained 5 things that changed my relationship for whoever wants to listen to it. Anyways, like I said in the beginning, these are just 5 things. They're not the biggest 5 things. They're not the only 5 things. These are just 5 things. 5 things to watch for. No, 5 things that make our relationship better and make both of us happier. And honestly, just like more in love every day. It's 8 years, baby. So that's all I have for you today. Let's do some daily delights really quick. My daily delight actually is that this week was National Black Cat Day. So I felt incredibly special. Not because I obviously am a black cat, but because I have 2 black cats. Well, I have a black cat and a tuxedo cat, but he's a black cat. He's a tuxedo cat and he's a black cat. So it was Black Cat Appreciation, I think that was the word, day. And I felt special because I was like, felt like I got to celebrate my kittens and have another reason to love them and celebrate them. And I gave them little treats and had such a special, fun day with them because I love them. And they're my children. And another daily delight. Okay. Actually, another daily delight is that there's this beautiful, like, white vintage vibe vanity for free in our neighborhood. And I tried to get it into my car the other day and I couldn't because it wouldn't fit. And I was like, dang, that really sucks. It's so freaking cute. It's like my dream vanity. And then the next day, Jacob came home from work and he picks it up and he didn't even know that I wanted it. He just picked it up because he knew that it was something that I would like. And lo and behold, it is. And now it's sitting in my room and it's so stinking cute. And I'm obsessed with it. And I literally just like it. It's the cutest thing ever. Like, actually. And I decorated it and made it like into a little like altar space with my seashells and my candles. It's giving Aphrodite altar vibes. Because obviously every time I'm doing my makeup or my hair, it's a beauty ritual, of course, as it should be. Duh. Aphrodite's my girl. If you know, you know. And my other daily delight is that my beautiful, amazing, sexy, perfect boyfriend is, while I am recording this, cleaning the entire house and making me dinner. Because he loves me and I love him. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. Hopefully next week I have more energy and I'm not. And also, actually, hopefully, no, I'm not even going to put that. Hopefully next week I have more energy. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe. If you're watching it on Spotify or Apple, you can follow the podcast. It really helps so much. And if you want to leave a review, that would also be cool because that also helps a lot too. And you can follow us on social media. We at Habitual Podcast on TikTok, at Habitual Pod on Instagram, and at Habitual Pod on YouTube as well. Let me know, like, at least one habit that you have in your relationship, if you're in a relationship, that has changed your partnership for the better. I'd love to read that. Okay, and I will see you next week.